Hello, hi, and thank you for joining me. I'm Bryan Stafford from Stafford Tarot. I just went live. I'm going to be doing these broadcasts roughly about once a month. So this is my July broadcast. I thought I would take a moment today just to show you the experience of a remote tarot reading with me. So I'm doing this a little differently. I have a little bit of a different setup. This is the setup that I would normally have if I was giving a remote reading. So if someone connected with me or contacted me and said I'd like to have a reading but I can't meet in person, can we do it over a video chat of some kind, probably Zoom or Facebook Messenger or Teams or something of that regard, whatever my client is comfortable with. I don't mind using different types of chat programs to connect with people. And so they will contact me, we'll set up and arrange a date, and then we'll connect, and then we will just briefly introduce each other in this way. This is the view that you would get. And then I would move it to my tarot table, which is the other side of my camera. I'll change my phone view, switch around. I usually do my readings from a bird's eye view down towards my table. That way I can share the imagery, share the symbolisms of the card, and sometimes messages will intuitively reach out to my client more so than it does through me, and so I really appreciate when that happens sometimes, and so I like to show the cards in that moment. Before I get started with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's happening this month with Stafford Tarot. I have a few events coming up. I'm taking some time over the summer, so there's going to be some less events happening in August. I will still do a live, I will still do the draw, and I will still be booking some remote readings in specific days and times that I have available. So if you're interested to book a reading with me, just let me know or contact me and we'll work out those arrangements. I'm also very excited to start up in-person readings again, not just at events and festivals, which is what I've been doing so far since the COVID restrictions have lifted a little and allowed us to get more in person and be more connected and present with each other. And so I will be offering bookable in-person readings. So you can book me to come to your house if you're in the Guelph and surrounding area. I will be doing events or parties if you're interested. All those details are on my website, staffordtarot.com. Check it out and get a hold of me if anything sounds interesting. I also am offering a workshop. I did offer this workshop at the last festival I was at, the Pagan Fest, celebrating summer solstice. And then it was a shortened version of the workshop in order to not take too much time away from the festival, and so it was offered at a lower fee. And so I just want to announce that that fee has raised and the workshop is now an hour long again. So if you're interested in that, check it out. Again, the information's available on my website. Now I do see some messages here. Thank you, Sheila, and thank you, Avi, for messaging. I really appreciate that because right away I can see whether I see the messages or not. There has been some times in the past during these broadcasts that the messages just didn't even show up and I kind of went blind through the broadcast. It went well, but I connected with people when I was able to look at the messages after, when it was saved online, like after I was done broadcasting. The recording was saved online. I was able to watch it and see people's messages at that point. So I contacted everyone who was interested in free readings and gave them free readings outside of the broadcast. So if there's ever any moment where, because there's a lot happening in these broadcasts, I may not see the message come up on the screen, or sometimes the messages are delayed. And so I have to sort of wait to see what the responses are from some of the viewers. And so I say that because if there's ever a time when you were interested in a reading during these live broadcasts, because I do offer free readings during each live broadcast, if you're ever interested and I don't get to you, contact me. I'll probably contact you if I'm aware, but if I'm not aware, contact me and I will still offer you that reading. So just keep that in mind. Now, if anyone is interested in a reading tonight, I did see one interest, Avi, so I'm going to start with you once I start doing the readings. Where did my pen go? So I'm just going to write that down. And if anyone else is interested in receiving a reading tonight, just write interested in the comments and I will try and catch it and write down your name. I'm going to go in the order that they appear in the comments. So just to let you know that. So if you put your name in the list, you may be later in the night if some other people have already commented that they're interested. So just be patient. I will try and get to everyone. The type of readings that I'm going to do tonight are going to be sort of typical to what I would offer in a short remote reading. So I'm going to do I think I've decided to do a pyramid spread for anyone who's interested. So what that means is it's a 6-card draw in the shape of a pyramid, 1 card, 2 card, 3 cards on the bottom. And it basically states how your day is going and gives you some advice leading towards the day. So, or leading, like where your day is leading you. So the bottom cards, the bottom 3 cards will be the past, present, and future of today. The 2 cards above that is the subject and what works against you. And then the very top card is sort of the advice that you can adhere to get through your day because of the challenges that could be described in the base of the pyramid. So we'll go through that. If anyone else is interested, just let me know. I'm just reading some of the comments so I don't lose track. Okay, Avi, I was just reading your messages and I would like to help you out. Perhaps I could do something a little different for you, Avi, given the situation that you've described in your text message there on the screen. Perhaps I could offer you a dilemma spread. I really find that spread helpful. It takes a little longer to get through, but it may be helpful for you. It's a 9-card spread. It's a 3x3 grid, and it really does well at giving advice towards a dilemma. I have used it for this sort of situation that you've described where you know, the dilemma of a love interest or a quarrel or a conflict within a partnership. And then the dilemma usually comes out in the perspective of both people. And I can explain that a little further once we get into it. And I see Tanya is interested. Thank you, Tanya. I'll give you a reading after I'm done with giving a reading to Avi. Right? So first of all, Avi, am I pronouncing your name right? I just want to make sure. Just let me know. And as I said before, sometimes the messages are a little delayed. And so if I ask a question and I'm waiting for a response and you've responded and I seem like I'm still kind of clued out waiting, it's just because your message may not have popped up yet. And I just have to be patient. We all have to sort of be patient for the message to come up in order for me to see your responses. So I'll get started. First of all, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a tour of my tarot table here. I'm going to switch my screen. Oh, can I switch my screen? Yes, okay. So I'm just going to change my view here for a moment. So this is my tarot table, and this is the view that I normally give when I do readings. The reason for that, as I explained before, is when it's a bird's eye view like this, people, my clients or whoever I'm doing readings for, can see me shuffling. They see exactly what I'm doing with the cards. They see how the cards are being laid out on the table. And I really appreciate doing it that way so that if there's any feedback that my client gains from the reading that is extra from what I can provide, that's the goal. Right? So I'll just explain. I do have several decks. This is the way I set up my tarot table, where half the table is reserved for readings and the other half is reserved for all the decks that I use for my readings. I do offer trans-dimensional readings. I can show you here. I have several decks on my table, and I use these decks within readings depending on the subject or the question or topic of the reading. A lot of times when I do a reading, I can expand on the reading by by transferring the energy from one deck to another deck and getting more advice or getting that extra detail that may be required. Excuse me. So I'll get started. I'll do Tanya first. Sorry, Annie. I'm going to do Avi first, then Tanya. So the way that I always start a reading is I always do a one-card impression pull from this deck. And that just gives me a little bit of an idea on where you're at energetically. Sometimes it gives me an impression of where you're at or what you're going through, what's on your mind. It just lets me know where my client is. And then I will bring that energy into the reading. So I'm going to do your reading with this deck, Avi. And that's when I work with this deck, that's when you'll have an opportunity to let me know your questions. So as you've explained, you're really wondering about this love interest, or let me go back to your, does my love interest want me back? So that'll be the question that I'll charge these cards with, and I will do a dilemma spread, which is a little different than I planned tonight, but I really think that it would be helpful for you, and so I'm going to offer that to you. So I'm just going to start shuffling, and what I'm really doing, Avi, is I'm just connecting with your energy. I am using my crystal ball to focus on you when I look at your name and the energy feeling that I get from that, and then I will be charging the cards with, and hopefully the cards will give me an accurate description of where you're at today, or how you're feeling, or whatever's on your mind, or something in regards to like a first impression that will help us through the reading. And so I'm just intuitively shuffling until I feel like I should stop. Okay. And the card that came up for you, Avi, is the Nine of Swords reversed. So this is the way the card normally looks, reversed. It normally looks like this. And what this is telling me, when it comes out like this for an impression reading, Avi, it usually means that you are sort of taking all of these heavy thoughts off your head. Normally, if it was like this, I would get the impression that you have all of these heavy thoughts on your head. It's probably keeping you up at night. You're having trouble sleeping, and you're sort of relieving that. You're in this process of letting go, or you don't want this to bother you anymore, and that makes total sense with where you're at. With your question, I really feel like you're in this place that you can sort of make a decision or even move on, perhaps. I don't mean that in the sense of move on away from your love interest, but move on from whatever conflicts have happened. Or, you're not going to hold these heavy thoughts on your mind anymore. Does that make sense to you, Avi? I'm going to place that card there until I see your message on your opinion on that reading. If the reading connects with you, then we will bring that energy into the dilemma spread that I'll do for you. So while I'm waiting for Avi to respond, I should just mention that the two decks that I'm using for this reading is the Morgan Greer deck, this one, and then this one is the Rider Wyatt deck. This deck is the more traditional, very commonly used deck, and this deck has very similar, the symbolisms are taken from the Rider Wyatt and put into the Morgan Greer. It just has updated artwork that I really like to use with clients. I find them calming, and I sometimes find that my clients find them a little more calming, whereas these are a bit more stark and starchy. So Avi, did that card make sense? If I don't hear from you in a moment, I'll move on in hopes that it does. Unless the messages are delayed, which I'm really hoping not. So I'm going to proceed. If I see your message come up, then I will keep watch for it. I'm just going to charge these cards with your question because you've already told me what you were interested in getting a reading about. So I'm just going to continue with this reading. But Avi, at any time, let me know how you feel about that card in the description. Hopefully I didn't lose you in the broadcast. At any time, if anyone gets disconnected or removed from the broadcast, you can always come back, or at the end of the broadcast, it gets posted onto my Facebook page. And so you can always go back and watch it if you miss anything. That can be helpful too if you receive a reading and it was very helpful to you and you want to go over those details again. Go back, rewatch the video, and get those details again. Also keep in mind, I should mention that when you watch readings that have already taken place, you have to keep in mind that those readings are from the initial moment of the reading itself. So for example, if I gave you a reading tonight and then tomorrow you came on looking at the relevance of the messages are going to be relevant from the day before. A lot could have changed, a lot could have happened. You would need to reread the cards to find out those changes. So you always have to keep that in mind, that it's from the specific point of view that the reading took place. So I'm just going to continue, Evie. And this is your reading, and I'm focusing on your question about your love interest. And the question is, does your love interest want you back? And that's what I'm focusing on as I shuffle. And I'm just going to intuitively shuffle until I feel like I should stop. Okay, I'm going to cut the deck 3 times. Hit my camera, sorry about that. Last one. Okay. So I'm just going to lay all the cards out for the reading, and then I'll go through them in the order that they came out. Now I'm going to move these to this side. Okay, so this is a 9-card dilemma spread. Now I'll just explain the way that the spread works. I'm going to put it on its side a little bit because I'm kind of out of space here. I don't know how that happened. So the first row is the description of the dilemma itself. The second row is the advice that can be adhered to tackle that dilemma. And then the bottom row is the action or tool that's required in order to follow through with that advice to tackle that dilemma, okay? Now this is also looked at in the perspective of position of the cards in columns. So the one column here, these cards will be your cards, AV. This will be how you're affected by the situation. The middle cards here are going to be the environment of the situation, and then the last column here is the challenge or dilemma. So I would consider this column to be of your love interest, okay? So when I look at this reading, right away in your column is the King of Cups reversed. Now this is a symbol for me that you are not making the best decisions based on your emotions. It could possibly be, Avi, that your emotions are getting in the way in order to make those decisions. Normally the Knight of Cups, not the King of the Knight. Normally it looks like this, and the knights are the like action takers, and cups are emotion. And because it's reversed like this, that's why I really think that there's this emotion that's stopping you from taking the actions that you need. Okay? The advice for you in that is not to, like, you need to know that you don't appear as the fool Okay, normally the card looks like this, and it's the Fool card. When it's not reversed like this, it would tell me that, you know, from the outside you may appear like the Fool, but on the inside you know exactly what you're doing. And because the card is reversed like this, it's telling me that you're not appearing like a fool. You actually appear to know what you're doing in your circumstance or in your situation. I just think you need to figure out that internal conflict, or you need to figure out what's happening for you. This card doesn't come up for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing. You know exactly what you're doing. You know exactly what you want in this. And I think the advice for you is to follow through. Okay? The environment is, of course, the Lover's card. As we've discussed, you know, your topic is really about your love interest and whether that love interest will want you back. And so that's what this is saying, is that that's the environment of your dilemma. Okay, the advice moving forward is not to push communication. Okay, I really think you need to maybe step back a little bit. Maybe this would mean like giving some space to your partner or to your love interest, giving some space for them to work things out. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're giving up. It just means that you may need to back off a little bit from the communication. If the card appeared like this in this position, it would suggest that you probably needed to communicate more, or that you needed to reach out, or that you needed to express some sort of information or get something off your head. But because it's reversed like this, I really don't think there's anything that needs to be said. It's just a matter of letting the situation work itself out. And in terms of your love interest itself, there seems, I like to call this card the what if card when it comes out like this. This is the Four of Cups. And for me, it represents what if. You know, if you have, you know, you can see from the image, this person, very connected, very grounded, knows exactly their emotions of what they have. And then there's this cup coming out of nowhere, as if like they're pondering what if. You know, they have this situation. What if they made a different choice? Or what if there was a different situation? Or, you know, that's why I call this the what if card. I really feel like your love interest is going through this process, this emotional what if. You know, they could be looking at, what if I got back with them? Or what if I didn't? What is the world going to look like if I make this decision? How am I going to feel? You know, that's what this card represents. And then the advice for that is the Queen of Swords reversed. So what this is telling me is that the advice regarding this what if situation for your love interest is really about not thinking too hard, not putting too much thought into this. I really don't think there's a lot of thought involving or required. It's almost like this person knows what they want. They just have to work it out. Because it's a what if, right? Like they have to work that out. So how do we follow through with this advice? For your column, it's the Six of Pentacles reversed. So what this is saying is, how do you appear to know what you're doing in this situation that you can't take action on your emotions? Well, don't allow yourself to be taken advantage of. That's what this card's telling me. Normally the card looks like this. It's about being fair. It's about being treated right. It's about being perceived as being fair and generous. And because it's reversed, it's really saying, do you. Don't be generous for the other person. Be generous for you. This is about you and what you need, and not to be taken advantage of. Okay? The advice towards the dilemma is to hold on to your action against all these other actions around you. It's like there's this conflict, and you're holding your own up against that conflict. That's exactly what you should be doing. And then how does your love interest, what's the advice for them, and how do they follow through with not having this on your mind? Creating a partnership. You know, I really feel like because this card has come out, you may also be on their mind. They may be going through a similar process to you, Avi. And so I really think that makes sense to me in regards to not having this on your head, not being too forceful or, you know, pushing on the communication, and just be yourself. When I look at this reading as a whole, I turn it this way a little bit. When I look at this reading as a whole, I see a lot of action and emotion, some thoughts, and I also see we have 2 higher arcana cards that appeared in your spread. So this is telling me that you may feel like you actually have some guidance in this. The guidance doesn't necessarily have to come from people around you, although it can, like supportive friends or family, but it can also come from spiritual guidance. I don't know if you work with ancestors or if deity work or anything like that, but just keep in mind that there could be some guidance there that you could reach out to, and that it's possible that you could be missing that guidance even though it's there. So just keep your eye out, keep your eye open for that, okay? So thank you, Avi, for letting me read for you. I really hope that you were able to receive these messages in the video. I didn't get your response if you were connecting with the reading as it went. Let me know if you connected with this part of the reading. If you have any questions or anything before I put the cards away, just let me know. I'll give you a little moment if you have any questions before I move on to the next person. I wasn't expecting to do this kind of spread, or I would have given myself more room to do the reading. I really hope that this was helpful and provided some insight for you, Evie. And again, just to go over the actions required to follow that advice, don't be taken advantage of, stand your ground, and, you know, there could be some, like a partnership or communication to come. So, you know, I really think that you just need to let the situation flow for a moment and see what it materializes into. So I hope that was helpful for you. Let me know. I'm going to put the cards away. I didn't receive a question from you, and I'd like to move on if you don't have a question. And if anyone else, just to let you know again, I am offering some short readings today. If you're interested, just write interested in the chat and I will offer you a reading. I'm going to move to Tanya next. So Tanya, I'm going to do your reading next. I'm just going to shuffle my deck and thank them for their advice and for the information from that reading. Thank you. Okay, Tanya, are you ready? So I'll start the same way I did with the last reading. I'll do a 1-card impression pull from this deck, and that's just going to tell me, Tanya, where you're at today, something about your energy or something on your mind. Just lets me know where your energy is sitting so that I can draw from that and bring that into the reading. I'll do the reading with this deck, the Morgan Greer deck, and that's when you'll have an opportunity to give me a topic to focus on or ask a question that I can charge the cards with to get that response. Okay. And you're welcome, Avi. I see your message there. Okay, Tanya. I'm doing you next, and I'm just shuffling this deck while I look at your picture and name and the feeling that I get, the energetic feeling that I get. I'm just charging the cards directly with that as I shuffle. And I'm just intuitively shuffling until I feel like I should stop. The way that I do this is I charge the cards and then I feel very carefully on how that energy reflects back at me, and that's what tells me when to stop shuffling. Okay, so I'm just going to cut the deck. And the card for you, Tanya, is the Ace of Wands reversed. Now, this card usually comes up in readings when there is an action that just isn't materializing for some reason. It can either be something that you're held back from accomplishing or starting even, or it can be that like the action just isn't even materializing. I'm not sure which fits more for you, but either way, it's this action that's just like not materializing or not coming to existence, or you're just not able to follow through with whatever action this is. Does that make sense to you, Tanya? Let me know how that connects with you, and if that makes sense, we'll bring that energy into the reading. Excuse me. So the type of, while I'm waiting for that message from Tanya, the type of reading that I'm going to offer for you, Tanya, is the Pyramid Day Spread. So this is the type of reading that I was going to be offering on this broadcast, and it basically just talks about your day to day. If you have a specific topic or question regarding today that I can focus on, just let me know. Otherwise, we can keep it general and just see what comes up. Quite often in a tarot reading, no matter the spread, if it's left general, those details tend to just come out in the cards anyways. But sometimes if it's focused on a specific topic or question, it's more clear towards that topic or question, right? Whereas a general reading can be, it can give you sort of a variety of things happening, or it can focus on one specific area, whereas, you know, there could be other areas to look at as well. Excuse me. Tickle in my throat. Not good for a broadcast. So, I didn't see, Tanya, if you have a general, if you'd like a general reading, or if you have a specific question, just let me know. I'm hoping that my messages are not too far delayed, that I'm missing your response. I am going to continue on. I'll keep it general. I'll do a general spread for you, Tanya, and we'll go from there. We'll see what comes up. If anyone else would like a reading, just write interested in the chat, and I will write you on the list in the order that we're going to go. And so I'm just focusing generally, Tanya, unless I hear from you otherwise. And I'm just intuitively shuffling, as I've mentioned, until I feel like I should stop. Cut the deck a few times. Okay, so the way that I'm going to start is I will start with the three base cards, and this is going to be the past, present, future of today. So in regards to today, this is for you, Tanya. The past, something regarding the past leading up to today, there's this conflict. This is the Five of Wands, or the Five of Rods, and it really represents all of these actions sort of up against each other, sort of like holding your own, except everyone is equally involved. So it's not necessarily a conflict, more like competition. Okay, so some sort of competition in the past that has to do with something today. And then today is the Death card reversed. So what this is telling me is that there is some sort of change that's happening, something that's ending and new beginning, and it's just not going through yet. Maybe perhaps you see this kind of change coming. Normally the card looks like this, and don't let the Death card scare you. It doesn't necessarily mean mortality, death. It means like the death of a situation. Like something has to end in order for something to begin. In the same way that when you look at this card in regards to mortality, it's like reincarnation, right? You have to die to proceed on to your next life. And that's what this card sort of represents. It's not about mortality, death. It's about something ending for something else to flourish or something else to begin. Quite often, if there's a horrible situation that leads to a good outcome, this card may represent that, okay? So just keep that in mind. This card was reversed in this position, though in the way that it came out in this spread. And so it's not saying that there is a situation that is ended and something new's coming out of it. What it's saying is that you may need to make a decision about that. You may need to actually follow through with ending something for something new to begin, okay? And then where today is going to lead is the King of Rods. So let me see if I can get this any clearer. There we go. So this King of Rods really represents making the best decisions in the best interest of yourself and others, but you're making a decision in the sense of an action, some sort of action that either needs to be taken or contemplated on. Kings also sometimes reference not only making the best decisions in the best interest, but can also reference a sacrifice. So this action that needs to be taken can either be beneficial or it could be sacrificial. Okay, the general subject of today, of this reading, Tanya, is all of this to do on your shoulders. It's like you are overwhelmed by the amount of tasks or the amount that needs to be done. Wands represent actions. And you can see from this picture on the 10 of Wands card that this person is completely overwhelmed trying to carry all of these wands, trying to follow through with all of these actions. Okay? This is probably how you're feeling today in regards to what's happening. And then what works against you, Tanya, is this feeling of not being pinned down anymore by heavy thoughts and like heavy thoughts on your mind. Normally the card looks like this, and swords represent heavy thoughts and intellect. And you can tell from the image, this person's so pinned down from all these heavy thoughts. But it's reversed. So what this is telling me is that you are relieving, you're poking out these swords, you know, you're getting rid of these thoughts that are holding you down. You're working through this. But that's still working against you with the amount of stuff that you have to do. Okay, and the last card is the advice for today. The advice that came out is the Judgment card reversed. Now this is a higher arcana card. You had a higher arcana card as well for your day with the Death card, and now your advice is also a higher arcana card reversed. Both of your higher arcana cards are reversed. And so this is telling me that you probably feel like you don't have a lot of guidance in this, either spiritually or you may not feel supported. You may want to reach out to others around you in regards to whatever's happening for you today. Because the advice is the Judgment card. Don't feel judged. Don't feel like you are on the spot, or that, you know, you need to do what's in the best interest of you, especially when you're in this situation. I mean, how do you relieve some of these heavy tasks that are going on? And what works against you is, you know, I think the work that needs to be done is probably stopping you from working out all of these heavy thoughts because there's so much to do, or vice versa. You could have so many of these heavy thoughts to work out that you can't get to everything that needs to get done. It's one of those situations that are happening here. And the advice is to just not feel judged. You're doing what you can. All you can do is what you can. And that is really what I feel like this card is saying, is not to burden yourself too much. Be gentle with yourself, be considerate to yourself, especially in this situation right here where from your past you have all this conflict and you're leading today, the subject of today being so much to carry and so much to do. Does that make sense for you, Tanya? When I look at this reading as a whole, there are a lot of wands. Okay, and what this is telling me is that these actions are heavy on your thoughts. They're actions involving the past, present, and future. So that's a lot, and that's why this makes so much sense to me, with these three cards being at the pillar of your pyramid. I really feel like you need to be gentle with yourself, right? Don't get overburdened. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel like you're small or that you're being judged. Do you, you know? So I hope that made sense. I hope that was helpful for you, Tanya. Let me know, and if you have any questions, put them in the comments. Yeah, I hope that this was insightful and helpful for you. So I'll just give you a moment in case there are questions, in case it's delayed and I'm not seeing them come up right away. And if anyone else is interested to receive a reading this evening, just let me know. So thank you, Tanya, for letting me read for you. I'm just going to put the cards away since I'm not seeing a question from you in the comments. At any time, please feel free to ask your questions or just give comments. Let me know if this was helpful or not. I really appreciate the feedback and knowing how well the reading connected or associated. And I'm just going to shuffle my cards again, my deck, and just thank them. And if anyone else is interested in receiving a reading, I have trouble on my phone telling how many people, like I have trouble seeing how many people are watching, or unless you comment, I don't really know you're there. I also, this broadcast does get broadcasted to my website as well on the blog, on the events page or section, and so anyone from my website who's watching this broadcast is not going to be able to respond in the chat, so it's just for viewing. But if you do have questions and you're watching from my website, please feel free to contact me from my website. You can send messages, direct text messages from my website by pressing the Let's Chat icon. Sorry. You can press the Let's Chat icon and talk to me directly if I'm available, or you can fill out the contact form and I'll get an email with your question or comment. Okay, so I have a little bit more time left, and I haven't seen anyone else with interest to receive a reading unless I've missed it. I'm just going to look through my text messages here for a moment. So I apologize if I'm not seeing your message. I'm not seeing any other messages that are interested to receive a reading, and so I'm just going to do one more reading. I'm going to do a self-reading for myself, and I think I would like to show you a different spread that can be used in the remote readings that I offer. I've already done a dilemma spread just unexpectedly, which was great, and I'm glad I was able to offer that. And I showed the pyramid spread for today. I'm wondering What other kind of spread? Do you have any ideas on what you'd like to see? If you'd like to see something complicated, or if you'd like to see something trans-dimensional, or just write it in the chat and we'll go from there. I think I would like to show my Witch's Wisdom deck, which is this deck here. I very much connect with this deck. This is my favorite tarot deck. It's my biggest tarot deck. You can see the difference here. It has a tarot structure similar. It does have 78 cards, the same as this deck, but the style of the cards is just nicer. They're very thick, which is why it comes out as a larger deck. I really like this deck with all the pagan symbolisms that are involved in the cards. And also, it is so to the point. I connect very much with this deck, with the messages. It's usually internal work. This deck is great for shadow work if you're interested with, if you're familiar with that term. And it just, it's really about the inner wisdom within. So I'm just going to shuffle the deck, and I'm going to do a 3-card pull just to see where I'm at. I'm going to just trying to decide here. I always have to decide what I'm doing even before I start shuffling, and the reason for that is because I'm actually charging the cards with my intention when I shuffle, and so I need to have all that intention in place. I need to know my question. I need to know what kind of spread I'm going to be using. I need to know if it's a general reading, or who's all involved in the reading. All of that is charged into the cards. And so I'm going to do a 3-card pull just to get an impression of where I'm at today. I think that might be helpful for me. Today was an incredibly busy day. I don't know if you can hear the cat meowing in the background. I apologize for that. She's wanting my attention, and I'm just not available to her right now. Hi, sweetie. Okay. Put the deck into 3 once. In case you're wondering why I do it once sometimes and cut into 3 piles for other times, there are different numbers of times that I cut the deck for different styles of readings. So the intuitive pull is technically a self-reading. It's my energetic impression of the energy of my client. So I cut the deck once. When I cut a deck, if I cut the deck once, that's my energy. If I cut the deck twice, that's a general public energy. And if I cut the deck 3 times, that is a focused on a specific person's energy. And so that's how I evaluate the shuffle. All of my shuffles have techniques to them that pull the intention into the cards. So, the 3 cards that came out, I can just show them here. So, I'll go through them in the order that they came out. This is not the same structure that I was doing in the last pull or the spread. So this is not considered past, present, future. These are 3 messages that will relate to themselves, each other, so that I can get the messages. And so the first message that I see here is the 4 of Earth. And what this represents, 4 represents foundation, Earth represents foundation as well, like grounding. And so what this is really saying is that because it's reversed as well, I do not need to find sanctuary. I probably have my own internal sanctuary that I connect with. And so there's no reason for me to exclude or go internal or be introverted. It's a really, like, I don't require that kind of grounding, okay? Then is the Star card. And the Star card is really about my own inner light. I am connecting with my inner light, and I'm making decisions in the best interest of others right now. It's really interesting that this card has come up, especially in the middle of two reversed cards, and I'll talk about that a little bit in a moment. But this card connects a lot with me because I am continuing my path as a Jesuit priest of Sikh Wicca. And so will be concluding my final priesthood initiation in the next 6 months. And so I'm really excited about this. I have a lot of work to do. I have a lot of planning, because I will formally be leaving my current coven and forming a new coven as a high priest in the new year. And so I am creating that structure. I am involved in that, and it's just, my development has been huge recently, and I see that connected with that card, that inner light that's shining. And then the last card that came out is the Witch of Water reversed. What this is telling me is that there's no reason to do emotional spell work in this. I don't need to do workings to improve or make this feel better for me, which is why I think it's fascinating that this card is between the two that are reversed, because I don't require the grounding. I've been there, I've done that, I've worked on it, and I don't need to this is all the planning that I have to do now is all the mundane stuff, the scheduling, the rituals, the schedules, all of that. So it's really interesting to me that these cards have come out this way. I really connect with this in the sense that, like I said, I've already done that work. I feel very grounded. There's no need for me to continue on with that. And also, this is not something I can fix magically. This is something that I'm doing to connect and help with others, not myself. And then, of course, the amount of development that's been required to do this has been huge. This is also a higher arcana card, and this is considered a court card, and this is considered a lower arcana card. So there's this mix that it really tells me that it's affecting like all the different areas. Whether it's lower arcana, higher arcana, or court, it's involving all areas of my life, which is so true. Now, I could expand on this using one of my decks. I really think it might be helpful to look at my past experiences with this reading. And so I'm going to use my past experiences deck. I'm going to pull just one card. I sometimes do a 3-card pull from this and then relate the cards together similar. But I'm going to do a 1-card pull just to see what past experiences I have that I can connect with in regards to this reading. So I'm just shuffling the deck, and this card just flew out, and so I have to follow that. And again, this is really fascinating. The experience that I have here is religious. This is a Celtic crux or Celtic cross, and it represents sort of the fundamental religions of, a pagan religion or a Celtic tradition. And so that's very ironic because my tradition is Anglo-Saxon tradition, and so which fits really nicely with this. And also, given that this is all about my religious experience, this is about my religious growth as a priest of Sikh Wicca, this is about my intuitiveness, growth, and development, as well as, sort of my leadership qualities. And so I really like the way that card has come out for me in this reading. Does anyone have any questions about how I came to the symbolisms, or what I draw on? Or if you have any questions about my own self-reading, just let me know. I'm always happy to explain my readings. When I give readings in person or remote, I encourage questions throughout. I really feel like it's important to be as clear as possible and to narrow down the significance of each messages that's received. So I'm just shuffling these cards, thanking them for their help and their assistance. I found that incredibly enlightening, uplifting, and insightful. And these cards just threw out themselves while I was shuffling, and so I feel like I need to read them. A lot of times when cards just drop out like that, or they sort of fly out when I'm shuffling, they are messages that the cards are telling me that need to be delivered. Okay, and the messages that I'm getting from these decks is very similar to the reading in regards to the Eight of Earth reversed. Again, this is about sacred sanctuary. This is about this would be the card of, say, a witch circle or a magical sacred space. Again, it's reversed, meaning that been there, done that. I don't really need to ponder that. It's not something that's required for me right now. And then the Three of Earth. This is about grounding. This is about connecting with nature, connecting with the earth, connecting with my own natural instincts. And it's exactly what I'm doing in order to follow through with my path. I really feel like this is sort of describing where I am today, like right now. Not like I've actually am avoiding this a little bit, which is kind of funny that this like non-sanctuary has come up twice for me, and then the connecting with the sort of my own animal instincts in this. So I'm just going to continue shuffling these cards just to thank them. And I'll just put my cards away. And I think that's basically it. I don't see anyone else writing that they're interested in a reading, and so I'm going to sign off. I will be doing another broadcast in August, so check my website for those dates. It'll probably get posted tomorrow as a new event, so keep watch for that. And yeah, if there are any questions whatsoever, feel free to reach out to me. I have so much information on my website. If you're interested in learning how to do self-readings for yourself, check out my website, because I offer that advice as well. And I also offer, if you go through my website and you're going through the lessons that are online, in the blog section, and you feel like you're not connecting, or you're struggling with those readings, reach out to me, because I do offer self readings intuitive workshop that I mentioned earlier in the broadcast that can help sort of connect. It introduces objectiveness and intuitiveness, and then we look at how the readings are made, and that can be extremely helpful for some people who are struggling to make those connections at first, or getting on their way to get started with tarot. Tarot can sometimes be incredibly overwhelming at first. When you think about having to memorize the meanings of 78 different cards that are all unrelated to each other in a lot of ways, that's overwhelming. But I don't recommend that if you're learning to do tarot yourself that you actually memorize each card. I offer intuitive readings in my readings, and that's how I also teach to do readings, is that I teach intuitiveness. So I'm really expecting in my courses or in my workshops that you're going to draw from your own inspirations, your own associations, your own experiences to receive the messages within your own readings. And what I really like about the workshop is that at the end of the workshop, when we've gone through it, we then take time to give readings. And so there's like this one-on-one that can be really fun and helpful. And then during the workshop, you get to keep the deck that you worked with. I offer a Rider-Waite-Smith deck. very similar to this, and you get to keep it when you're done, and so that you can take it home and continue to practice learning self-readings. I also offer a sort of an activity that you get to take home with you that will help you practice the intuitiveness using your new deck. So anyone who's interested, just reach out to me. I'm really, really, really excited. I'm going to come back on the screen here. There we go. So I am extremely excited to offer in-person readings again. I can't tell you how much I missed them over the past 2 years. You know, I was doing remote readings strictly for quite a while, well, the 2 years. And I'm really looking forward to, I started giving in-person readings for the past couple months now at locations. And now I'm ready to offer like in-person readings, you know, other side of the table type of readings. And very soon I will be expanding my services again to lift some of the restrictions that I already have on my services. So for example, some of my services are on hold. So I can't offer tea leaf readings yet. Because of the COVID restrictions. I just want to make sure that I'm staying within the restrictions. I'm being safe and considerate to everyone who's involved. Not everyone wants to wear masks during readings. Some people do. That's fine. I'm more than happy to put an N95 mask on for you during the readings if that makes you more comfortable. Or I'm willing to do remote readings if you're not ready to meet in person, or if you are ready, if you're ready to open up those restrictions along with everyone else. I'm happy to make those arrangements. I do have a travel fee for outside of Guelph and surrounding area. So if I'm going outside, so I don't have a travel fee for Guelph, Cambridge, Kitchener, Rockwood, anywhere outside of the Tri-City area though, I would have a travel fee. It's just a standard travel rate that just basically pays for my fuel to get to you in order to do those readings. And I also am offering a group readings, which can be used for work events or parties or weddings, birthdays. Wherever you feel that a tarot reading would fit into your event, I am happy to help out. I do have my own table that I can bring and set up with my crystal ball and all my cards. If you don't have a space for me to set up, I can bring a table for that. Also, if the event's outside, I do have a tent that I can set up. It's a 6x6 white tent that really it just gives a little bit of a protective space against weather and adds a little bit of privacy for those who are receiving readings. It just makes for a comfortable space in order to receive those messages. So if you're interested, check out my website, www.staffordtarot.com, and I will sign off. And thank you so much for those who received readings tonight. I really appreciate you trusting me with giving your readings. And check out my website for those upcoming events, or stay tuned with my Facebook page. I do put them on there as quick as I can, but the website is always like more up to date. So if you're wondering what's coming in the future, go to the website and check it out. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed meeting some of the people in the chat today. Ava, Tanya, thank you for letting me do your readings. And all of you, take care. Have a good night.